name is Alana Rowland, and I'm married. I've been married 14 months to Daryl Rowland, and I'm 56 years old. I have 3 children. The oldest is 30, the youngest is 17, and I have 4 grandchildren, and I attend here at CLF. So as I grew up, I went to school and through high school, pretty normal, making pretty good choices. And then in college, I met Mike, and Mike and I fell in love. And then with that relationship, I made the worst decision of my life. I became pregnant, and yes, it can happen the first time. And with that decision, I made another decision, and I had an abortion. And that, I would say today, is probably my biggest regret in all of my life. After I made the decision to have an abortion, I went through with that, and it was immediately after that I was under such attack, and I was going to go to my deathbed with that. No one would I ever trust with that information. And because of that decision, I became a prisoner in my own body. I was in chains and in bondage of silence and isolation, and I lived that way for many, many years. So I went many, many years isolated and with a secret. And I remember I was listening to the radio one day, and as I was driving, the woman spoke about her experience with abortion, and I was shocked that she said it out loud, and I had to pull over to the side of the road, and I just sobbed over that steering wheel. And then when I collected myself at the end of that, I remember being so proud of her to be able to share that. And that's where my road started, to realize that this was not for me to carry my whole life, and that forgiveness came through Jesus Christ. At this point, I had been a Christian for many years, and what that meant is I know that I gave my life to the Lord, and He lived in me. But there's the one thing about the abortion. That was one thing that I really didn't believe that I was forgiven of. And it wasn't until I was able to forgive myself, forgive that young woman, especially now that I look back on, I'm judging her now with everything I know, and I'm a mature woman, and I'm not being pressured by what was going on then. And by understanding that God loved me, forgave me, gave me the freedom to understand that I could forgive myself. And through that, all the broken pieces have been put back together, and there is joy and peace and comfort in knowing that as far as the east is from the west, God has forgotten about that. Now it's time for me to and let go and let God continue to love and heal my once broken heart.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Lemke, and I'm 65 years old. I have 4 kids and 7 grandchildren, and I've been attending CLF since 1979, December, and just enjoying being a part of the CLF family. I was born, raised, and stayed in Wisconsin Rapids, and shortly after living life my own way, I met a man, and we married in 1977, and thought I was going to be living my dream. Like any marriage, there were up and downs, things we had to work out, but I found myself less than 7 years later facing him leaving us when I was 8.5 months pregnant with our 4th child, and taking the clothes on his back, all his tools in our family car, and we didn't see him for the next 3 years. The things that I went through after that were things that I never thought I would ever experience. The emotional pain, anger, isolation, depression, uselessness wondering who I was and why this happened to me. I remember one night where I began realizing what my new life was going to be facing, the decisions, taking responsibility, and having to do it all alone. And I remember in my pain falling to my knees in the middle of the living room and just crying out, "Oh God, let this not be in vain. Take this pain that I'm feeling and somehow, some way, someday use it." Shortly after that, I began immersing myself into CLF, and every time the doors were open, we were there. In 1995, I discovered a program that I asked the church if I could lead, and it was a fairly new program, and it was called Divorce Care. And 20 years have gone since we have been running Divorce Care. Little did I realize that cry of my heart in 1983, "Oh God, don't waste this pain," would be used in such a way. Back in that season of pain, I could have never imagined that God would have been able to have used me to see so many people, probably close to 250 to 300 people, plus the children that came through for Divorce Care for Kids. I never would have thought that He would have been able to have used me in such a way. It's been just a comfort in my life to know that so many people have walked through the doors of that classroom, and some of them have met God for the first time, and some of them have recommitted their life back to God. And to physically see on their faces how God has taken the pain away and removed the scars that they were feeling and that they had been through because of their messy lives, and to see true healing come. And that has been such a joy for me to be a part of that. It's amazing to know that even through the big messes that sometimes our life has, that God can still use them, and that He's not done with us, and He still has a plan for our lives. And I'm so thankful for that.
Hi, I'm Katie Swanson, and I have been married to Kyle Swanson for 10.5 years, and we have 4 boys together. And we've been living in Rapids for a few years and got connected with CLF about a year ago. I grew up in a pretty typical Christian home with my parents and my brother, and everything was good and healthy. But behind the scenes, when I was really young, I had a family member that was very close to me being sexually abusive for a time, and nobody knew about it while it was happening. There came a point when some things came to light or to my mom's attention, and she asked me if something had been going on, and so it was revealed that yes, I had been dealing with some abuse, and just the realization that I wasn't the only one at that point. Our family members started talking and learning that there were a lot of us, and I don't really think anyone knew exactly how to deal with it. So after everything was revealed, I was so young I didn't really know what to make of everything, and so as I got older, I basically just buried everything and forgot about it, and didn't even really remember that anything had happened for a number of years, and probably didn't think about it at all until I was in maybe junior high. I don't know that there was anything specific that brought all these memories back, but I feel like it was God helping me heal and helping me remember what had happened in my past, because I couldn't just bury it and ignore it if I wanted to become whole again. So after God showing me that I wasn't defined by what had happened to me, I felt awesome. I felt good. I felt whole. I felt fine. I didn't think that I had any issues or problems. I forgave this person, and it wasn't until I finally decided to talk to my mom about it later in high school that I learned that I wasn't the only one. Talking to my mom about it really helped just get through some of those things. And then again, when I was dating my husband now, when we were getting to know each other, and that fun, happy phase where you just share everything, he really provided a safe place for me to be able to talk about this. And I think it was the first time that I was able to talk to someone outside of my family about what happened to me. And it was just so healing and so nice to hear that I was okay and there wasn't anything wrong with me and that he was gonna help keep me safe. So about a year ago, this person passed away, and I had thought for all these 10, 12 years that I was fine, and I thought that it was over. I thought that I had dealt with everything, and apparently there were many layers that were hidden that I didn't even realize, as much healing as God had provided. When this person was really, really sick and I knew that they weren't able to communicate, the only thing I wanted was an apology, and I knew that I wasn't gonna get one. And it really was the hardest thing out of all of this, because I am a justice person. Like, God has created me to want justice for people, which is why I was more hurt by my family members being hurt than my own self, because a lot of times I don't feel like I matter in comparison to everything else, but finally I mattered, and I really wanted that apology. So just the floodgates of everything that had happened came back, and there was nothing I could do. I couldn't go ask for anything from this person. I just had to let go, and I really needed God, and so thankful for my husband at the time to help me do that. So when this person passed away, I had to make a decision whether or not I would even recognize the passing. It was a family member, and so I needed to decide if I was even gonna go to the funeral, and for a lot of people that's not even an option they need to consider. And I had a really dear cousin talk to me about it, and she told me that she chose not to be defined by what happened to her, and I don't need to be defined by what happened to me. And so I chose to go to the funeral because I wanted God to be my healer, and I wanted to prove that I wasn't gonna let something in the past stop me from moving forward. And I really needed his strength to even get me through the doors of that church. There's so many people that cherished and loved this person because he found hope and forgiveness. After I was discovered, his life was changed. And so I needed to come to terms with the fact that he was gonna go to heaven. And that kind of made me mad too. And then I had to deal with the guilt of not wanting to forgive again. But I had to make that choice. And if you're ever in a situation, you have to make the choice to let go. Otherwise, it's gonna just kill you. It's gonna eat away whatever you have inside. And so this last year has been a journey of just that, of learning to forgive and learning to let go. And not even just this, but just anything in my life, any person who might hurt me, just recognizing that God's love is bigger and we can be made whole through whatever brokenness that we have. And so I feel like I can breathe again. I feel like I can love myself, and I feel like I can think on this person and not just be angry anymore. I can't say I'll ever love them the way that other people may have loved them, but I'm just not holding on to it anymore, and it feels really good to let go.
When I gave Jesus all my broken pieces, he put my life together, and now his light shines through me.
Jesus took all of my broken pieces and put them back together, and now his light shines through me.
When I was finally able to give God all of my broken pieces, he was able to put them back together and make me whole again, and now his light shines through me.